Good afternoon, Olive, Arlo, and Frank. A very raspy voiced grandpa coming to you from the living room in Jack's Beach. We're going to continue on in the book of Exodus today. We last studied chapter 32, and in 32 we see the golden calf, and then we see Moses come down the mountain and smash the tablets with the Ten Commandments on them in anger. And when he says to Aaron, his brother, like, well, why did you make these golden calves? He said, well, the people brought me gold and I threw them in the fire and these idols popped out. So he's trying to act like, well, no, it's a real thing. I didn't make these. One good thing about the Bible is that it lets you know that no matter how messed up you do things, that unless you die, you can always say, hey, I'm sorry. Now, I'm not saying that you should do things on purpose because you can get forgiven later on. Christianity's not about that, and Judaism's not about that. And these are the 5 books of Moses, the Torah, or the Pentateuch. So these are Jewish books, even though we in the Christian religion believe that they're inspired in God's word. And then I think God started killing a bunch of people. Yeah, he sent him a plague. So we're going to start in chapter 33. The Lord said to Moses, go up from here, you and the people whom you brought up out of the land of Egypt, to the land I promised on oath to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, saying, I will give it to your descendants. I will send an angel before you, and I will drive out the Canaanite, the Amorite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, the Jebusite, the Uptite, and Anasite. Go up to a land flowing with milk and honey. But I will not go up among you, for you are a stiff-necked people, and I might destroy you on the way. That'd be horrible to think that God's sitting there going, yeah, let him mess up one more time and watch what happens to him. When the people heard this troubling word, they mourned. So it was bad news that they got. So they mourned. No one put on his ornaments. For the Lord had said to Moses, tell the Israelites, you are a stiff-necked people. If I went up among you for a moment, I might destroy you. Now take off your ornaments, that I may know what I should do to you. So the Israelites stripped off their ornaments by Mount Horeb. Moses took the tent, that's the tent of the meeting, and pitched it outside the camp at a good distance from the camp. And he called it the tent of meeting. Anyone seeking the Lord would go out to the tent of meeting that was outside the camp. And when Moses went out to the tent, all the people would get up and stand at the entrance to their tents and watch Moses until he entered the tent. And whenever Moses entered the tent, the pillar of cloud would descend and stand at the entrance of the tent, and the Lord would speak with Moses. When all the people would see the pillar of cloud standing at the entrance of the tent, all the people, each one at the entrance of his own tent, would rise and worship. The Lord would speak to Moses face to face, the way a person speaks to a friend. Isn't that amazing? The Lord would speak to Moses face to face, the way you would speak to a friend. Now, they had this amazing relationship, but Moses is going to, Moses is going to fail. But we'll see as that happens. And when Moses went out to the tent, all the people would get up and stand at the entrance of the tents and watch Moses until he entered the tent. And whenever Moses entered the tent, the pillar of cloud would descend. So I'm reading this again. And stand at the entrance of the tent, and the Lord would speak with Moses. When all the people would see the pillar of cloud standing at the entrance of the tent, all the people, each one at the entrance of his own tent, would rise and worship. The Lord would speak to Moses face to face, the way a person speaks to a friend. What a friend we have in Jesus. Then Moses would return to the camp, but his servant, Joshua, son of Nun, a young man, did not leave the tent. Joshua is going to be very, very important as they approach the promised land. And then when they eventually go into the promised land. Moses said to the Lord, "See, you have been saying to me, 'Bring this people up,' but you have not let me know whom you will send with me. But you said, 'I know you by name, and also you have found favor in my sight.' Now if I have found favor in your sight, show me your way that I may know, that I may continue to find favor in your sight, and see that the nation is your people." And the Lord said, "My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest." And that's the biggest thing that God gives people, is rest. Once you're born again, then you can really rest, because you know where you're going to go when you die. Up until that time, you have no idea what's going to happen to you. And Moses said to him, "If your presence does not go with us, do not take us up from here. For how will it be known then that I have found favor in your sight, I and your people? Is it not by your going with us, so that we will be distinguished, I and your people, from all the people who are on the face of the earth?" The Lord said to Moses, "I will do this thing also that you have requested, for you have found favor in my sight, and I know you by name." And Moses said, "Show me your glory, God." And the Lord said, "I will make all my goodness pass before your face, and I will proclaim the Lord by name before you." And that's a big thing to Jewish people. I forget how they pronounce it, but I believe it's Adonai. They're not allowed to say Adonai. Maybe it's Yahweh. But there's one of them that they're not allowed to say, and then they have another word that they say, because it's the unspeakable word, name of God. We don't believe that, but make it all pass before your face, and I will proclaim the Lord by name before you. I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious. I will show mercy to whom I will show mercy. But, he added, you cannot see my face, for no one can see me and live. The Lord said, here is a place by me. You will station yourself on a rock. When my glory passes by, I will put you in a cleft in the rock. So that's like a crack, a giant crack in the rock. And will cover you with my hand while I pass by. Then I will take away my hand, and you will see my back, but my face must not be seen. So this is something very interesting, because God's saying he has human characteristics.